guess we'll just go around and introduce.
Cool. I'm Percy. I use he, they, and z pronouns. I am playing Hank Boswell, who uses he, him pronouns.
Hi, I'm Ella. My pronouns are they, them, theirs. I am playing Kodi Thompson Lee Garcia Smith, whose pronouns are he, him.
Hi, my name is Esther. I use she, her pronouns. My character is George, who also uses she, her pronouns.
Hi, my name's Emma. I'll be playing Fred. Both Fred and I use she, her pronouns.
And I'm CJ. I am jamming, and my pronouns are he, him. So we will get started. This session of Kids on Bikes, and I guess all of the sessions of Kids on Bikes that we'll be playing, take place in Bromwell, Pennsylvania. And all of our characters, Hank, Kodi, Fred, and George, attend Bromwell Middle School, which is the public middle school in the town. And every student that attends Bromwell Middle School is actually on a field trip today. A field trip sponsored by the silicon chip manufacturing company that nearly every parent in the town works at, BromCom. The BromCom manufacturing facility is the newest and also most ominous looking building in the town. It is made definitely of some kind of fake stone, but looks like solid obsidian. It's this tall, 6-floor rectangular building that says BromCom on the front engraved. And for most of the morning, the four of you and every single one of your classmates have been being shuttled around the BromCom facility, learning all about silicon chip manufacturing and everything that goes into it. You've not been divided up by class or anything. You're all sort of mixed together in groups, rotating through these presentations. And right now, the four of you are on a tour of the assembly line with an excitable, definitely he has a title, but you're probably all thinking of him as a silicon chip scientist named Benny. And Benny is going into the design of silicon chips. Like, the way a chip works is the result of how the transistors and the gates are designed and the ultimate use of the chip. The design specifications include so many things: the chip size, the number of transistors. And he looks at you, George, and is like, do you have a question? It looked like you have a question.
No. Why do I care about this?
Benny looks absolutely crushed and then like quickly hides it because you're 13 years old. And he like gently clears his throat and looks back at the rest of you and is like, and anyway, many production factors are used to...
I have a question.
Benny looks so relieved, and he looks at you, Kodi, and clasps his hands together and is like, what is your question?
When do we get our microchips to take home?
Oh, I actually don't know if there are microchips that you get to take home. Do you have something to put the microchips into?
My backpack.
That is one place that you could store a microchip. But did you know that silicon can be heavily affected by temperatures? And you probably take your backpack all sorts of places, like the asphalt on the playground, and you can tell he has not been in school for a long time.
As soon as Kodi finds out that he doesn't get a microchip, he loses interest.
I think Fred is starting to pull out various Ziploc or whatever the early thousands, late 90s equivalent of Ziploc. There was Ziploc bags back then, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Out, and just that various things that probably don't always need to be waterproof are in, but that absolutely are in. Just Ziploc bags in the backpack.
And Benny looks at you and is like, what are these? What are you doing?
You said for the microchips. You said they needed to store them in something. I didn't know if people wanted Are we not getting microchips? Or
No, we're not.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He looks at you, Hank, and is like, you were saying something?
Hank is going to open his mouth as though he's going to ask a question and then fart very loudly.
I knew it.
You can tell you are emotionally and spiritually demolishing this silicon chip scientist. And he sort of exhales and says, does anyone else have any other questions, or should we just go look at the manufacturing equipment?
Kodi raises his hand again.
He looks at you in slight fear.
How much do you get paid?
Well, that is the kind of thing you don't ask someone.
But I did.
Yes.
How much does your boss get paid?
That is a great question that I do not know the answer to.
Can your boss give us microchips?
Does anyone have any questions?
I'm starting to hand Kodi. I sneak Kodi a plastic bag so he'll have something to put the microchip in if he gets one. When he gets one.
Kodi refuses the plastic bag and pulls out the beeswax wrap that his parents sent him to put in his bag, and is like, no, thank you.
Fred will see that you have one, and she'll immediately be like, you got it. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Fred, one of your other classmates, Shiloh, who you're in the Bromwell Scouts with, leans over and is like, "Can I have a plastic bag?"
This is Shiloh who's in charge of the
yes,
sort of the head, right?
Yes.
Well, I think he said that we're not going to get microchips, so I'm going to save these for something more important, and I put them away.
And Shiloh looks at you and is like, oh.
I don't look at Shiloh.
Okay. And they look down. and Benny is like, anyway, we'll go look at the manufacturing equipment and not have any more question time. And he's going to turn and he doesn't even herd you. He just starts walking and hopes that your teachers will follow and do that for him, which they are. The two teacher chaperones that are accompanying you are Ms. Christofferson, who has lived in this town for 40 years and knows nearly everyone in it, and still has so much boundless energy for how much economic strife there has been. And your other chaperone is the 8th grade history teacher who is new this year, Mr. Marshall, who is an absolutely riveting history lecturer, kind of like listening to Morgan Freeman if Morgan Freeman was really passionate about judicial activism and also hated the U.S. government. Most of your parents do not like him.
Oh my God.
And the two of them are kind of like, okay, everybody follow Benny, let's go. Really hanging back and making sure that none of you stay back in this rather boring corporate hallway. And as you go into the next room, you find yourself in one of those sort of like a aquarium, if aquariums contained silicon chips, or silicon chip manufacturing equipment rather, because it is, this tunnel on all sides is surrounded by glass, and you can look up and to the sides and see these presses where these silicon chips are moving along a conveyor belt and having an additional layer added with every single one. And you see Benny look back at you as you sort of file in.
Hank raises his hand.
Are you going to make a fart noise, or do you have a question?
If I lay down on that conveyor belt, would I die?
Benny looks at your teachers for help. And
How old does Benny look, by the way?
Benny is like 32. Like,
Yeah, that's about what I guessed.
yeah. He does not have children of his own, and he loves silicon chips.
Absolutely not. He loves that. If I know two things about Benny, it's that he doesn't have kids and he loves silicon chips.
And he like looks as he's looking nervously at your teachers, Mrs. Christopherson is like, well, Hank, I don't think you, and like Mr. Marshall kind of leans to the side and looks right at you and nods.
Kodi pipes up, yeah, because you would get sealed because of that coating, because they're putting that coating on the chip, you get sealed in with your own farts, and that's how you die.
Oh, no. And then they put me inside a computer, and it would be a farty computer.
It'd be a fart robot.
That is not exactly how silicon chips or computers work, but that's fine.
What's the difference between a computer and a robot?
Do farts conduct electricity?
How much do you, so a lot of what, do your parents let you watch TV?
Yes.
No.
Do you know what, oh boy. And you can tell you're like sort of short circuiting Benny's brain as he's trying to be like, which question do I answer first? And Ms. Christopherson is like, was there more you wanted to say about silicon chips before we start taking questions from the class? And as Benny sort of realigns on yes, these are silicon chips, you can see back behind you, and George, you might be the only one who catches this standing in the back. There is a sort of flash of green light under the door behind you.
What was that?
George, don't interrupt, Ms. Christopherson says.
Okay, well, I was bored by this whole thing, but there's like something happening here.
George, you are being so disrespectful.
I'm sorry. There's just like
Benny
the
right
one
now.
interesting thing happening right now. I just like maybe other people would be interested in that.
I'm
What
interested.
happened?
There was like a light over there. I don't know.
Is it the fart robot?
Computer nerd, can you like explain what that light was?
What light?
There was like a light by the door. She walks over and like goes towards the door and checks it.
What do you do with this door?
I try to pull on it to see if it opens.
It does.
And I see nothing. I see just like a innocuous looking hallway.
It looks just like the hallway you walked out of.
Okay, but I swear I saw something. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Incredible. And Ms. Christopherson sighs and says, Can we let Benny get back to his presentation now?
Yes.
And as she closes the door, you see that flash of green light again. And this time all four of you see it.
Whoa. It was green.
Yeah.
Did you see that, Hank?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, George is a little disappointed that all the like dorks are seeing it, but she's a little relieved that other people are backing her up.
I realize, and Ms. Christopherson is very done with all of you now, that when we're in class, sometimes it's fun to play pranks. But right now, we are guests of a really wonderful company that does so much for this town. And all of you are not being very gracious guests.
Kodi raises his hand.
Yes, Kodiak.
Technically, isn't this company like a guest of our town? and like we're all from here, and so like we're like they're kind of our guests.
But you can see she like wants to hold the line so bad and is trying to figure out how.
Hank is going to throw himself to the ground holding his leg, and he's going to start crying and just like rolling around to try and create a distraction. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh no.
Kodi thinks this is 100% real and like goes to you to see what's wrong.
Hank will make eye contact with you and like look at the door.
Okay, great.
Fred
pulls out a full mini first aid kit and goes over also to Hank.
Kodi, before Kodi opens the door, is there like a gap underneath it large enough to look before opening it?
It's a very, very narrow gap. It's like maybe a centimeter, so not really enough to get a good look at what's underneath.
Okay, Cody's gonna open the door again.
And so Fred, you're over by Hank with your first aid kit, as is Mrs. Christopherson and some, like most of the class, who is now like, a show. This is great.
I'm going through the basic procedures of like making sure like we're getting elevate like any symptoms or anything. It's awful.
George, are you going to see Hank's performance, or
no? George is very amused by Hank's performance, but she is like leaning against the wall by the door, just like chilling,
metaphorically smoking a clove cigarette.
And Kodi, when you open this door, there is a fraction of a second where it looks like that same hallway you walked out of, and then you and George are pulled suddenly into this hallway by a force that is not yourself. And the door pulls shut behind you. And you see that flash of green light again. And something that looks sort of gelatinous visually, but texturally kind of a cloud, is rotating in front of the two of you against this door. And you don't know where it came from, but it's certainly here now. And some of whatever it is appears to kind of drip off. And you see where this droplet hit the floor, it starts to corrode a little bit. And it is slowly inching closer to the two of you.
Oh, do you think a microchip got in Hank's fart?
Oh my God, don't be such a baby. This is obviously something that's like, in the silicon chip processing waste toxic sludge thing, obviously.
Okay, well, how do we get out?
George tries to open the door back to the room that everybody else was in.
The knob turns, but you can't pull the door open.
Okay. Is there a way around this gelatinous cloud?
You could kind of limbo under it, but as you're looking at it, it's expanding. So you'll want to act soon in one direction or the other.
Okay, Kodi is thinking like, okay, microchips, computers don't like water. So he pulls out his reusable water bottle and starts just kind of like the power of Christ compels you, like trying to get the thing wet to see what happens.
That's going to be our first roll.
No.
Can you roll fight against this gelatinous floating cloud?
I sure can. Oh, man. Oh, it's a 3.
Incredible. So have you guys had a chance to look at the difficulty ratings and consequences?
Yeah.
So first off, you get an adversity token. That's amazing.
Oh, and I get 2 because I'm easygoing?
Yes, you do.
Yeah. Failing forward.
As you start to sort of like flick this water on the gelatinous cube, it makes like the sound that when you throw water on a hot pan makes, and then it sucks your entire water bottle into its being.
No.
Okay.
Oh, Fran's gonna kill me. That's the 5th one this month.
And it sort of ripples and then grows even bigger.
No.
You idiot, look what you did.
Well, at least I did something.
Okay. All right. You know what? As the grown-up here, I'm going to make an executive decision. I am going to try to roll under this thing. And then she just like tucks and rolls.
We're going to call that one
Can we call it grit? Is that not?
Let's see. That stat is how hard it is to break a character emotionally or physically. Do you feel emotionally devastated by this gelatinous cloud yet?
I feel very terrified, but I am powering through for appearance's sake.
We're gonna call that flight, I think, because you're trying to evade the cube.
No, that's not good. Okay.
But you do have time to plan, so you could choose to take half of your die, rather than rolling, and then Kodi also has 2 adversity tokens that he could choose to spend to help you. Okay, well, that is a D4 for me. Cool. So I am gonna try to get every point I can. And it's a 4! Yay! So that means the die explodes and you get to roll again.
Oh. Another D4?
Yes, and you add it to your 4.
Okay, and that's a 1, so a total 5.
This cloud, although it is moving towards you and like expanding, is not moving quickly. So you are able just narrowly to go sliding under this cube, this cloud that before it touches to the ground and sort of like shifts shape into something more rectangular. And as you are laying on the other side of this tile floor, and Kodi is like looking back at you sort of like over through this cloud that is now fomenting into a cube, the cube starts to expand upward, as though it is going to fully block the two of you off from each other.
Oh my gosh. Which of us is on the side closest to the door?
That is you, Kodi.
Me. And there are no other doors or openings in here?
There is a door on the other side.
And okay, so George sees the door on the other side.
Yes.
Okay, so George calls out, there's another door over here. Well, how fast? So the cube is moving?
It has planted itself on the floor.
Oh, it's on the floor.
And it is large. It would be hard to jump over, and it is slowly expanding upwards.
And is it touching the walls on either side of it already? Or is there still room on either side of it?
There's still room on either side as well.
Do I have time to check the other door?
Yes, you do.
Okay, so George tries to open the other door.
You do that. This door is not sealed, and you find yourself looking at a face you have not seen in 3 months. It is Micah, who is a girl that you used to bully, and in fact bullied so much that there is a rumor about you going around.
No! Is Micah alive?
Micah is alive. And she is looking at you blankly and with suspicion, and then like draws back away from you. And it is at this point I am going to distribute your traits to each of you.
Yes.
Oh my god, I'm so scared.
Micah does have powers. Micah is our powered character, who is communally controlled by the group. We are not playing at a physical table, so what we are going to do to activate the aspects of the powered character is just type it into the chat, and the person who is in control of that aspect can make a decision if that makes sense to activate there. So, and I will read these as I put them in the chat. Ella, your Micah traits for now are scared of BromCom and doesn't speak, but a good listener. Esther, your traits are scared of loud noises and quick. So D20 flight roll. Percy, your traits are scared of George and loves animals. And Emma, your traits are drawn to the Old Town Hall and Coal Museum and has a Polaroid camera and loves photography. So at any point, and this is a character that's shared between all five of us, and if you feel at any point one of the aspects that you have would be relevant, you can activate it. Or if you think another one of the aspects would be relevant, go ahead and do that as well. George, Micah sees you and is backing away.
Oh my gosh, Micah, what are you doing here? Hello?
She shakes her head at you and points behind you at the expanding cube and makes a thumbs down sign at you, and then turns to bolt away from you.
Where are you going? Kodi?
Cody's gonna... does Kodi see an open door on the other side of the room?
Yeah, Kodi, you can still see around and over the cube. The cube is moving at the pace of a forklift with two flat tires.
Great. I'm gonna go ahead and try to run around the side of it, whichever side has a bigger gap, to get to that open door.
Go ahead and roll flight for that.
Jeezy crazy. Okay. Hey, 9 + 1 is... Oh, wait. No, I rolled the wrong die. I am so sorry.
You're totally good.
Oh, I wish it were 9 + 1. Hey, 6 + 1, so 7.
Nice. This cube is moving slow as hell. And you manage to sidle around it just narrowly as it then kind of like snaps to the walls.
Great. I'm just gonna start running down through the open door into wherever that goes.
Wait! George is following Kodi because she does not want to be left alone with that cube.
Kodi, you see a flash of black hair up ahead of you, who is also running. So it's George is behind you. Someone is up ahead that you haven't seen yet, or haven't gotten a good look at yet. And you are running back through the tour that Benny was giving you. How well do you think you paid attention during this tour?
I think Kodi was paying okay attention, but was mostly looking for like rubber bands and like free pens to steal. So nice. I think that he'll remember some landmarks.
Cool. And what about you, George?
George was mostly paying attention to the other people in her class. like not at all to the tour, not interested in really the plan, but like can sort of track where she was based on like, oh yeah, that's where like Hank farted and it was really funny.
That's where Hank farted the first time, and that's where
And then
Hank
the third
farted the second time.
Incredible. Let's go back to Hank and Fred for a second. While you guys are running through this silicon manufacturing facility that you tenuously remember.
Dun, dun, dun.
Hank, how long do you kind of milk this performance?
He will go just past the point of people very clearly not believing him. he will move just past the point of like goodwill.
Frank is going through all of the checks for symptoms for first aid, and he's not responding to Eddie. It's like not matching up. Like, oh, do you have it? And then, no, you're okay. And then I assume that like probably one of the teachers like tries to get in the way and like an actual adult step and actually take care of this.
Yeah, Mrs. Christopherson has knelt down like next to you and is trying to like gently shoulder you out of the way, Fred, and is like, Hank, what is the issue?
Oh, okay. Well, here's and she sort of like just pushes the first aid kit in front of Miss Christopherson as she lets her push her out of the way.
Well, my leg hurts and I can't see out of my left eye, and my hand isn't working, and my stomach hurts, and I think I'm dying.
I don't think you're dying. I think you're going to be okay. Did this all happen suddenly?
I mean, if you think about it, we're all kind of dying, but some are just faster than others. But I don't think he. Oh.
Hank starts wailing.
His pupils responded to light, so I don't know what it could be. Yeah, I did the little. He kicked with the little reflex thing, and he didn't scream. So
it all happened.
Maybe
so
there's
fast.
internal bleeding.
The light. I see the light.
I think that's just the light. I think that's just the fluorescence. Right. Like I'm imagining almost like a spotlight in Hank's dramatic scene.
And Miss Christopherson is like, Hank, you are not dying. You're not.
Are you sure?
It is okay. And the volume could be a little lower.
And he'll just kind of get up and like limp away dramatically.
Is he limping with the other leg?
Yes, he's limping with the wrong leg. And he'll turn dramatically back to Fred and be like, "Thanks for saving my life."
Okay. I mean, I don't know. You might want to get that checked out by a doctor if you're still experiencing symptoms, because I don't know what's wrong with you. But was it the oh, okay. And she'll just sort of like stop and just like gather up the scattered fur. There's like bandages out and like an ice pack that she already broke open, so now like she can't use it again. She's just like, is there a trash can or around here, like to Benny, or just
Benny's
I'll
like,
just,
we try to discourage
it
people from throwing food out in the silicon chip manufacturing hallway, actually, so you'll need to throw it out in the lobby.
It's not. It's. See, you squeeze it and it pops. And
water.
It's
water also very bad for silicon chips. Very bad.
Oh, okay. I'll just
hold
keep
on
it
to that.
then.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh. Okay. She just puts it. I unintentionally wore overalls today, but when Fred is absolutely in overall, and just puts it in like the front pocket, and it's just like still pretty cold.
Let's go back to Kodi and George. And I'm going to have you both roll. I think this is flight. Let's have you both roll flight because you are in an accidental sort of chase here.
Great. I got an 8.
I rolled a 2.
Incredible. Kodi, you easily catch up to George. and sort of, if you keep up at that pace, are going to pass her.
Cool. To pass George or to pass Micah?
To pass George. And you were clearly on pace to catch up to Micah. So it's up to you if you want to leave George back here kind of in the dust and catch up to Micah, or stay with George.
Okay, so I catch up to George and I'm like, hey, I don't have any water to offer you, but if you need a nut-free granola bar to keep your strength up, I have one in my backpack. Did you hurt that girl? She seemed really scared of you.
No. I don't know what her problem is. She just started running.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go then, unless you have anything else to tell me.
George is pretty out of shape, so she's like kind of huffing and puffing, but she doesn't want to show it. So she's like, fine, just go. Like, I don't want you here anyway. Just go.
Kodi hears that and like has like, you know, in That's So Raven, when like the world spins out and like goes into a vision, Kodi like remembers a like conversation in the living room among like 4 of his caregivers that were like, sometimes you tell me to do things that create distance between us when I can tell you're actually desiring closeness. And it's hurtful. And with this memory, Kodi decides not to pass George. It's just like, okay, well, I guess we can just keep running together. That's okay.
Fine, whatever. I don't even know if, like, do we want to catch up with her? Like, George is kind of, like, slowing her pace because she's, like, do we... I don't... It kind of looked like it was, that girl, Micah, from school. Do you remember her?
No. Is the thing... Can we see if, like, the cube is still chasing us? Or has it just chilled out?
You don't see the cube behind you at all. Like, you have been running long enough, and you are far enough away from that hallway that there's no cube.
Okay, well, maybe we can take a break anyway.
Well, I think I don't know. I mean, how far away is... Can we see, like, how long is the hallway?
So the silicon from this vaguely rings a bell because you have been here before. Not like even 20 minutes ago, in fact. And the silicon chip manufacturing plant on this level, the voice of Benny floats through perhaps Kodi's head and not George's based on your relative levels of listening. It's constructed like a spiral to maximize space. So it is a series of squares that sort of fold like if a spiral was a series of squares rather than a circular spiral, with a long hallway like going along each wall, and a series of smaller hallways. So you've been running down these lengths of like increasingly shorter hallway for some time, passing different like of these windows with little stamp things and pots of smelted metal and that sort of stuff. And you're getting back towards the elevator bay that will take you back to the lobby. And you would guess probably that you're a couple turns away from getting back to the elevators that could take you there.
Okay. So, yeah, I think we should just slow down, see what's going on. We've been here before. We just need to find our way back to the group.
That's a really good reasoning, George, and I appreciate you collaborating with me on a solution when we're both at high emotional states. Thank you.
You are such a weirdo.
Oh. Okay. Kodi takes out his granola bar and just starts eating it. It's very loud and messy. It's like full Nature Valley.
I'm actually going to have you roll. I think this would be flight as well, Kodi.
He eats a granola bar.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh no! What's in the granola bar?
What have I done?
Suddenly develops a nut allergy.
I got a 7.
As you are lifting this granola bar towards your mouth, it is jerked out of your hand abruptly, and you see it like move up to a little taller than your face height level. And then you hear the sound of crunching as it starts to disappear.
Who is eating my granola bar right now? Kodi says out loud.
And the person eating your granola bar stops. The crunching stops.
It's okay. I didn't say you couldn't. I would just like to know with whom I am sharing my granola bar.
And a pair of eyes flicker back into view. And they are definitely George Micah's eyes. And
Okay.
Percy, I am going to assign you the power of invisibility
Hell yeah.
for Micah.
Okay, I see you. So you can just come out now. Micah?
You think it's Micah?
It's totally her. I saw her. What do you... Okay, well...
Kodi is gonna stand between George and the eyes and say, "Hi, is your name Micah? My name is Kodi Thompson Lee Garcia Smith, and it's nice to meet you."
And Micah slowly flickers back into view and holds her hand out to you. Micah looks at you, George, and hisses.
Kodi hisses too.
Okay, well, what is your problem?
And she ignores you entirely and will hold out this partially eaten granola bar back to you, Kodi, like a little bit apologetic.
I take a bite, like without taking it with my hands, and then say, with a mouthful of granola, "You can have the rest."
And that gets like a little smile, and she'll keep eating the granola bar.
I ask Micah, do you know what that thing was back there?
She gives you a thumbs down,
How long have you been here?
and she shrugs.
Oh, yeah, it was a really long tour.
And she sort of looks at you uncomprehendingly.
How old are you?
And she holds up a 1 and a 3.
31?
She switches them.
Oh, my bad. 13. Cool, you're a teenager.
And she seems like slightly amused by that, not in a mean way.
Were you two in the same class? I asked to George and Micah both.
Mm-hmm.
Micah hisses at George again.
Okay, so clearly you have a problem with me.
Well, and as I don't know if I can call myself objective or not in this incident, but George, it also seems like you might have a problem with Micah. So maybe we should just take a moment to state what those problems are and then think about continuing to move out of this place that makes scary murder jello cubes.
I don't have a problem with anyone. I just want to get out of here because this is all weird and I don't know what's happening. I don't know what your problem is. I don't know why you're even here.
Micah points past you at the door on the other end of the hallway.
The door that we came from or another door?
The door the opposite way.
So there's another door that we were headed
Yes.
towards. Okay.
Do you want to go that way, Micah?
She just starts walking.
I guess we have to follow her.
Great. Kodi starts following Micah. Kodi will hold Micah's hand as long as Micah lets it happen.
And
Go ahead.
George is just following from a distance, pretending she's not following.
Micah allows this. And like you go up to this door. And she points at you, Kodi, and then she points at the door.
You want me to open that door?
She nods.
Okay. I guess Kodi opens the door.
George, you are standing behind them. You watch Micah disappear as Kodi opens this door. And you were looking at your class. You were looking at Hank and Fred and Shiloh and your other classmates back in this silicon chip hallway.
Whoa. Do I notice that Micah is gone?
I think you probably would. Like you would see her disappear out of your periphery.
But I actually see her disappear.
Yes. But you can still feel her holding your hand.
Oh. I walk in, just like, hey everybody, we found Micah. Also, we almost died.
And Ms. Christofferson is like, I knew that we were missing people in the head count.
I also almost died.
Whoa.
George is still trying to process, and she just sort of saunters in as like, yeah, we took a little detour.
Well, don't wander off like that again. You can tell Ms. Christofferson probably would have some kind of consequence for you if she was like your actual teacher and not the 8th grade history teacher, and also did not just want to get all of you to lunch. It's like, we're going to have lunch now. This is everybody, right? No one else walked off. And she starts counting again. And is like, okay, great. This is everybody. We're going to have lunch in the BromCom cafeteria. They have very kindly offered to pay for lunch for you all. So we're going to go do that. And after that, we have another career presentation. Does that sound good?
Kodi is still very clearly holding his hand out as if it's being held.
And George slaps Kodi's hand and says, "Stop it!
Ouch!
Just stop it!
Hey, don't hit my friend."
It wasn't that hard.
You don't get to decide that, though.
Fine, whatever. Be weird. I don't care.
Dungeons & Drama Nerds is produced by Todd Brian Backus, Percival Hornak, and Nicholas Orvis, and is mixed and edited by Anthony Sertel Dean. Our Kids on Bikes game features CJ Linton as the GM, Ella Mock as Kodi Thompson Lee Garcia Smith, Percival Hornak as Hank Boswell, Emma Covert as Fred Hudson, and Esther Yumi Co as George Privanathan. Kids on Bikes was written by Jonathan Gilmour and Doug Levandowski and published by Hunters Entertainment with Renegade Game Studios and Infectious Play Publishing. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at DN Drama Nerds. Check out cast bios on our website, dungeonsanddramanerds.com, and tune in next week for another episode of Dungeons & Drama Nerds.